All right.
Good
We'll
stuff, Jack.
start get started soon, I reckon. Guys, do you want to do the intro or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it this week. To mix it up. Yeah.
No
Or did I
worries.
do it last week? I fucked it up last week, though, didn't I?
You did, but
Yeah.
we'll give it another crack in.
Oh, fine, fine. So welcome to episode 3 of the Parkville Project. We are incredibly honoured today, myself and Jack, to interview KIWIii Steve Langdon. He's one of the fastest runners at our Parkville Project squad, and even at Melbourne Uni. 154 PB for 800 metres, 353 for 1500 metres, and 1439 for 5k. So a quick background on Kiwi Steve. So
Can I just add a little
yeah, go ahead.
accolade for Steve? He's an expert in tardiness.
Eh,
Someone when you say to rock up at a certain time, he just doesn't do it. And what 'cause it's well, just look at the time now, 5:58 p.m. I do remember saying let's start at 5.
Bit
So
stiff.
58 minutes late. It's a real standard for Steve.
I I did have my AirPods with me, so I was like, oh, I could probably jump on this from the car with my phone. It'd be fine. But I decided it deserves my full attention. So
Would
here
that
we
have
are.
been in the Uber, Steve?
No, it wasn't an Uber. Naomi was driving me, which was
Right.
Oh, right. Lovely.
quite handy. Yeah, I can't drive at the moment.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
convenient. Just one thing about this PBs, I've actually ran faster in the 800. I've ran 153.
Oh,
Oh,
Jack. Oh,
no.
what is this?
Okay, hang on. This is what World Athletics has. So
Look at my New Zealand Athletics profile.
you're gonna have to fix that up.
Gonna have to sue
But
World Athletics, I reckon.
It's this weird thing, like some meets get picked up on that profile, but not all meets. And then also because I ran my 800 PB quite a long time ago, it's actually not picked up
it
on
doesn't
any
count.
database. So
Yeah.
old person problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pre Strava days.
Yeah, it would have
Mm.
been. Mm.
Gary and I are not old enough to remember those days.
Yeah, we're little toddlers. Anyway.
No, keep going to the intro.
Oh yeah, well, we've gone on a tangent already. Plenty of tangents for later. But anyway, so Steve does some good work outside of running and all that. So he's a senior consultant at I don't want to. How do you pronounce
Adlerian
Adlerian? Yeah,
consulting.
consulting with a background in organizational psychology and advanced skills in quantitative data analysis. Something I'm not very good at. Anyway, he recently completed his PhD in organizational psych that focused on developing a framework to understand the occurrence of organizational, I feel like I said that 100 times, citizenship behaviors in civil society sector. So to make it simple for it could be younger listeners, Steve, how do you, like for my little brother who's 11, how do you put that into a little sentence?
Yeah, so from the work side, I help organizations improve their performance through their people. And then from the research side of what you just read out, which sounds suspiciously like parts of my LinkedIn bio.
It's copy pasted, not gonna lie.
So my research looked at understanding the helping behaviors people do at work that sit outside their formal job descriptions. So sort of people that are going above and beyond and trying to work out what triggered that to happen in the not-for-profit sector.
Yeah, right. It's interesting because obviously that sector is very all for the people. So, like, how do you make sure that is all for the people and not for other needs? It's a bit of a tough question there, but I might throw it back to you, mate.
Yeah, so the sector is an interesting spot to be looking at sort of people's experiences at work because it's sort of an under-resourced sector. There's a lot of competition for resources, and the organizations are trying to do more with less. So every year they try to provide more services, but there's reductions in their funding. So I was trying to look at the positive ways that the helping behaviors can happen. So things like the factors that would increase employee engagement, which then in turn would increase the extra role helping behaviors. So sort of like a positive pathway. So things like particular styles of leadership, those types of sort of influencing factors would then create like a highly engaged employee who would be more likely to go above and beyond at work, which would then improve the performance of the NGO.
Yeah, right.
I'm a little concerned about the quality of your work that you've been doing, because I saw on the Google that there's been no Google reviews for the business. So I'm thinking that no one's really appreciating the stuff that you're doing.
It's a bit quiet, Steve.
That's a good point. I may have to go do some Google reviews after this call just to improve our Google standing. LinkedIn's where it's at, Jack. Stalk us on LinkedIn. We have some followers.
That's good. That's what
We get stuck into the backstory of the guest. So, Steve, you want to run through, I guess, when you started running and any early memories you have of it?
Yeah, for sure. I first got involved with running when I was at high school or college. I was just super enthusiastic in my first year of school. Did school athletics day that qualified you for like the region, and then the next, like, go well there, you qualify for the bigger region, and you sort of keep going through that process up until the national champs. And yeah, I enjoyed that. I had a really supportive teacher that was my first coach. And she was also a triathlete. So I sort of, through that, I started doing triathlon, multi-sport, kayaking, cycling and mountain biking, sort of any kind of endurance sport. And just did that throughout my school time. And so depending on the time of the year, be what sport I was focused on. And I was coached by my school teacher for the sort of first 3 years that I was involved in that. And then I joined my local running club, Tauranga Ramblers, and I found a coach through that club for running. And then I ended up with like a separate coach for each of the sports. So I had like a running coach, a cycling coach, a kayaking coach, and a swimming coach. And they also looked after each of those individual sports and sort of communicated about training and what was the priority at the time, and making all the different sort of training programs fit together. And in terms of early memories, I went to my first national champs and I was running the 400. And I hadn't had to use blocks before. So the official had to help me work out how to use the blocks for my 400.
Wait, was it
yeah, this is at the National Schoolboy Champs. I was 12, I think, 13 maybe. And I was doing a very prestigious double. I was doing the 400 and the road race, which is obviously super common. Everyone wants to do that.
Wait, what do you mean road race?
So in New Zealand, we had at the Schoolboy Nationals, there's your normal track and field events, but then there's also a road race as part of that. So,
oh damn,
I think when you're year 9, so like a 13-year-old, it's like a 3K road race. Through to when your final couple of years of high school, it's a 6K road race. So it just sort of ran as part of the same meet.
So you do it on the same day?
It's the biggest track and field meet in New Zealand. So I think at the time it was running across 3 or 4 days.
All right.
So like you do your, like nationals here, you like the scheduling and stuff. So the road race was always on the last day. So you can sort of do other races and then the road race. So yeah, been taught to use blocks on the start line for a race in my first nationals. It's probably one of my very first memories of running.
Because you started off in the 400, didn't you? Like you did quite a bit.
After that, yeah, I sort of ended up running 4s and 8s for most of the time that I've been running. It's only in the last few years I've moved to longer distances. When I finally gave up on the dream of trying to run a fast 800, and I realized I wasn't able to do that, so I had to go longer.
Well, I saw on the word, not that it's accurate, the World Athletics profile, that I think it's your 15 is the best time you've got
in terms of the points.
Yeah. Would you agree?
Wouldn't know, because I don't know the points associated with my PBs, but it'd probably be close between. I've ran 153.3 in the 8, but I don't know how many points that's worth. I ran 49.9 in the 400, so they're probably worth about the same points. But
okay.
Yeah, in terms of best performance, I've managed to burgle a couple of medals at nationals. So I got an under 20 bronze in the 400, and I got a bronze again in the senior men 3K a couple of years ago. So those performances probably stack up a lot better than any of my PBs.
Yeah, true. Actually, did you race against anyone of note in those ones?
The 400. No one that anyone listening to this show would recognize.
I don't know any sprinters.
Yeah, some sprinters. And the 3K. The second place getter was Hayden Wild, who's New Zealand's #1 triathlete. He's an Olympic medalist now, sort of top 3 to 5 in the world. Would be someone that people from Australia might know the name of. The winner was my training partner, which was pretty exciting. And there was, I think, 2 seconds between the top 4 or 5 people. But yeah, not a name that any of the Melbourne Uni crew would know.
What about Nick Willis, mate?
Sorry?
What about Nick Willis? Ever race him?
I have raced Nick a lot. I think I raced him the first time when I would have been 18 on New Year's Day.
No way.
In Tauranga, which is where I grew up. Back at home, there's a track meet on New Year's Day on the evening, which is pretty brutal. It's like a beach town, so we went back and stayed with my parents, with me and some buddies, and we went out for New Year's Eve, and then I got to race Nick Willis for the first time the next day when I wasn't feeling my best, and he absolutely smoked me. It was in an 800, and I did not have a good time. But I've been pretty lucky. I've raced with him. I've done some training with him.
Pretty cool.
I've got to run with a bunch of runners, pretty speedy. Some of his training partners have came a little bit from the US and sort of trained with some of my friends, and yeah, I've never beaten him though. He's beaten me every time.
Oh,
it's understandable.
Yeah, I thought Steve would have put out a story where he beat Nick Willis at like your local meet or something. That would have been crazy.
I wish.
Did you come close ever? Like 2-3 seconds or?
Within seconds at the New Zealand Nationals, maybe in the 1500 and like tactical races.
Yep.
And Matt sort of, he would never on like some like New Year's Day meet, he'd never sort of set out to absolutely destroy anyone, so he'd sort of sit and then kick. So I guess like within seconds over an 800, which is still a bit of a beating.
It's still pretty cool, mate. Yeah.
What about you two? Have you guys ran or racing against any sort of big names?
Jack can start.
I think it requires you to be a big name to start with, really.
No, it doesn't. You don't have to be a big name. Like, I've raced like Archie Noakes, who's got a full scholarship at Oregon, I'm pretty sure right now. So that's pretty cool to race him. Tom Diamond as well, University of Washington. Like, these boys are some really excellent runners who are the same age as me, torching me up on the same track. So yeah.
Nice. And Jack's, I think Jack doesn't race.
I mean, look, I've raced Olympians in cross country when anyone can race them. Probably be Lockie Hurd would be the best. That was last year, but I got smoked, as you'd imagine. So let's not talk about
that. Yeah. We might move on to just back to MUAC, because this is a MUAC podcast. But anyway, Steve, talk us through your memories joining the club. Like, when did you join? who was the first few people you met and all the memories you've had so far, Steve? Maybe give us a little snapshot.
Yeah, so when I've been in Melbourne coming up 2 years, and one of the boys I ran with back in New Zealand at my New Zealand club used to run from WAC. So he put me in touch with ZACA. And then at the same time, I've got a buddy in Melbourne who I run with, another Kiwi, and he's been here for a lot longer than I have. And he said that he was leaving his club, which was Donny, and he was planning on joining WAC, and that's the one he recommended. So sort of independently, 2 different mates put me in touch with ZACA. And so I reached out to ZACA. We went for a jog. He gave me the hard sell. And
the hard sell. Okay.
Cruising around Princes Park. ZACA being like, there's no other clubs. This is the best club. You need to run for my club. And I needed to sign for a club quickly because AV had stopped letting me into races without having a Victorian club rego, even though I had a New Zealand club membership. And I wanted to race the Victorian champs. So I think I had sort of a week to sort out who I was going to be running for before the Vic champs. So yeah, spoke to ZACA, went for a run. He suggested I sign for the club. So I did. And then through that, I started jogging with ZACA and the group that he jogs with Run the Tan, sort of 2-3 times a week. And I did the Victorian champs, and I met Ellie, Bryn, and Tony. My first time racing for the club, because we were all racing in the 8s and the 15s at Vic champs last summer. And I sort of went from there. After that, I got introduced to Max. So started doing some runs with Max, joining him with you boys and the squad on the Tuesday nights, and the Eaglemont long run that I'm not sure either of you.
Oh, I'll go there more than Jack.
Generally, how many times have you been to the actual Eaglemont long run?
I don't think Jerry's ever attended.
Yeah,
I know Jack has.
That is a joke, mate. I've been there 5 times, I reckon.
Oh, just because I said 4.
Yeah.
Steve is the resident Eaglemont long runner, and he says I've been there more times. So.
Oh, but like I only joined the squad like March. You joined like year earlier.
doesn't change the fact.
Oh. So since March, have you turned up, Jerry?
Yeah, I've turned up 5 times. I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember this, Jack? No. I'm pretty consistent there, and I don't remember.
I can Jerry got once, I reckon.
We went to a coffee shop, Steve, when I tailed behind you. Remember?
Maybe. Just ringing some bells. I'm not super sure, but yeah. So that was sort of my involvement with the club, and just as I got to know more people, sort of running with more and more guys from the club, either at the Princes or the Tan or the long runs, and the post long run coffees, crucial part of the week. Although I've never done the squad park run stuff. I've sort of kept that a little bit separate from what I do.
Same.
Mainly because park runs are early on a Saturday, and it's like it's a Saturday morning. I don't need to be up and running before 8. I know that Jack's a bit of a park run fan though. He's been on to froth a bit on Saturday morning.
I sometimes, I mean, a lot of the time I'm like, I start work at 10 on a Saturday. So it's like, it's good to get the run in anyway beforehand. But it's just a good vibe. Like, even if you're just jogging it to like, because it like means you can be jogging with like 100 people for 5K. So it's just like, it goes pretty quick. I don't know, I'm all about the vibe. So
I bet you are.
It depends though. Like once every like 2-3 weeks or a month is alright, but every week I just find it super draining, and I don't know. I couldn't do it every week like what Craig Pilkington, Mr. Parkrun does. So
well, there's some big calls coming out of Jerry. Craig and Max, and Johnny Earl may have something to say about your approach to the parkrun.
Maxie could have said that when he was on last week.
We'll save it for a Craig special.
Yeah, true. Just quickly as well, Steve, before we move on to another new segment, I think, tell us about what you want for our club in the future, like, because you've been at a club for your 2.5 years now. Tell us just something, a vision you see. Like, what do you see?
Yeah, I think the club's doing some really good things at the moment. Uh, I feel like the sort of coming out of COVID and getting back into doing the regular social stuff is super important for a club's culture. So there's quite a lot of people that are pushing the sort of connections between the training groups and making sure that after we race, we do something social together. Going for dinner, going for a drink, doing like a full club, like long run or workout, and sort of having a chance to sort of meet people that you may not see running usually in your day to day. So sort of continuing to develop that is super important to obviously helping with the, I guess from the view of this, like Max's squad and the Parkville Project, sort of helping with the XER performances, because obviously they weren't, apart from the juniors, they probably weren't quite what we are hoping for this season. So sort of building the club culture to then sort of use that as a stepping stone to build the club performance, and help some of you younger guys to make the jump up to consistently race in the Div 1 team and score not very many points, and help us jump up the ladder a wee bit. And I think the club's doing really positive things, and it's like a fun group and good to be a part of. Case in point was our end of season bowls activity last night that Jerry didn't turn up for. So he wouldn't know how great the club could be. But I think something that'd be, I've been thinking about a little bit, sort of building the culture around the club relay performances. So sort of having, sort of making sure that everyone in the team and the teams that are racing are there before the race starts, and so that everyone's down the start line cheering for your first runner, and they're there at the changeovers, and the full teams are there when your last runner finishes. So you sort of really build that sort of team atmosphere, and it's tricky to do in running as an individual sport, but the relay races are a good chance for us to do that.
No, that's really good to hear. I think, as you reiterated, just for relay stuff, we need to keep improving, for future generations. And a quick little one I reckon I want is just to get probably kids younger to join Melbourne Uni, because it's not just when I joined when I was 16, I was the only one pretty much my age, and it felt a bit intimidating. So just a little program for people like in high school to feel more comfortable, because like as a youngest you just feel a bit out of your place a little bit, but then as you go older and make new friends, you develop. But maybe something like that down the road.
I vote Jerry for WAC daycare manager. You can run the children program.
Little ass Melbourne Muir.
Oh yeah, that can be you, little ass club coach.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that, and maybe give it a few years. Not next year. Anyway, Jack, this new segment, I think. Do you want to
I thought we're just given Jez and I are workers at a shoe company, a shoe seller, and we did a great job today selling lots of shoes. We're probably going forward want to ask each guest what their favorite daily is, their favorite super shoe, and if they've got any classic shoes they remember wearing that they really enjoyed. So Steve, please.
Yeah. So my daily trainers, I've been pretty loyal to the Nike Pegasus for the last few years. Love that shoe. Especially the 37s. They're my favorite. I've got a little bit of a stockpile.
I hated them.
Stockpile at home, and they're slowly getting harder to track down in the stores. So I swap between those and Infinity Reacts. I've had many pairs of them as well. And big fan of those two as my dailies. I've been running mainly in Nike shoes for quite some time. But when I started to run, I was all about the Asics. They were my go-to.
Darth and the Kayano.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
classic. Everyone
always.
starts off with it.
Is that what you put your customers into for their first running sneaker?
No, so maybe a few other companies up there, or Cliff the running company might do that, but we actually tailor the shoes to each person.
Is it all about the kickbacks you get from the brands?
Look, there are some perks, but I can't disclose that at this moment.
Really? Okay. Yeah, all right. We'll make a consensus there. We'll save that for a later show, not today. But so we said the forgotten classics. What about rotation wise? Because like for me, I've got like probably 4 or 5 pairs I rotate between. What about yourself, Steve? What are your main rotation?
Yeah. I had to trim back my sneaker collection when I moved to Australia. So my daily rotation at the moment is maybe like 6 or 7 pairs.
Oh, that's still a lot.
And that so just like my trainers and then my sort of workout shoes. And I've got a few different workout shoes and then a couple of pairs of spikes and stuff that I kind of use across the week. So I guess in terms of just like jogging shoes, yeah, probably about 6 on the go at any one time. Sort of a few pairs of pegs, a few pairs of Infinity Reacts, and then sort of whatever other shoe I feel like giving a go at the time. If I see it on sale, I'll pick that one up and see what it feels like. Yeah, it's
Yeah, well, awesome stuff, Steve. We might rewind to NZ Relay Champs. So this is very important in New Zealand running. So tell us, or tell all the listeners, what it's all about. How many years have you been a part of this, Steve?
You've got it coming up, don't you?
Pardon me?
You got it coming up the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I do. It's grand final weekend this year, so I'm going back to race for that.
Missing the grand final day. That's un-Australian, Steve.
Unfortunately, the team I support in the footy was knocked out very early on. So it's not like I'm missing too much. But yeah, the New Zealand Road Relays, I guess it's the main team competition in New Zealand because we don't have like the team component to the winter or the summer season like you do in Victoria. So there's no sort of XCR that's team-based with like promotion and relegation. So that it's the only kind of big teams competition we have. And it's a road relay. It's for the seniors, it's a 8-man team. So it's the same for the men and the women. And the race is normally somewhere between 60 and 80K. So you're sort of running a variety of laps. So the like classic road relay courses are a point-to-point course. People will race laps somewhere between 6K to 12K. And across like a variety of terrain. So like some will be flat, some will be one, like normally there'll be like an uphill leg, there'll be like a straight downhill leg, sort of legs with some hill, a couple of big hills in them, those sorts of things. So it's like, yeah, and it moves around the country. So there's a couple of like famous courses and they hold it more often than others, but then over the last few years, it's been shifted to a couple of new locations with new courses, which has been fun. And the kind of way that the race works is you pick your team. There's a series of divisions, so it's your club has to estimate your finishing time, and based on that estimated finishing time is the division you get put into. And so the top division is like the championship grade, and those are the teams that are racing for the national title. And every team has a vehicle, like a team van. So you normally have someone in your team driving the van, or you take turns driving, or you bring a driver with you. Because like to get to this race, normally there's a flight involved for most years, or like a bit of a hike. So you sort of rent a van once you get to the city that you're racing in, and the race starts, and it's kind of hectic. Because every team's got a van. There's normally probably say a couple of hundred teams. Like there's quite a lot of cars on the course, and you just race along the side of these main roads, and the roads aren't normally closed, so there's like members of the public driving along as well as all the vehicles for the race, and so your first runner starts and your team van has to get to the changeover in front of that first runner to drop off the second runner, and then also pick up the first runner and then move to the next step, and you just kind of like your van leapfrogs the active runner sort of every lap. And it's pretty fun. The race has been happening for a long time, but the first time I raced it would have been as a junior athlete for my childhood club, Tauranga Ramblers, in maybe 2006. And yeah, we did do the same thing as a junior, just over a shorter course. I haven't actually raced it that many times as a senior because I've been injured a lot. So I think I've maybe raced it 5 or 6 times, and I've been racing in the seniors for a lot more than 5 or 6 years. So yeah, this race happens once a year, and there's a lot of chat between clubs about like who's going to go well, who's going to win, who's going to lose, that kind of stuff. And at least the clubs from where the region that I lived in before I moved to Melbourne, we would normally put bets on like a box of beer on your head-to-head performances against the other Auckland teams. So like if like whichever team won, all the other teams sort of give them a box of beer. So if you're the top Auckland team, you can normally do all right for the evening out after the race, because the other Auckland clubs have had to provide you with a fair few beers or whatever alcoholic beverage that they may choose. It doesn't have to be a beer. And the aim of the game with doing those bets is to give out like a worse beer than you'd receive. So it's all about finding the cheapest, nastiest beers to give to the teams that beat you. And there's a whole bunch of traditions with this race. It's a really good time. I think some Australian clubs have came over and raced it. I think Ben Huntley's ran it a few times. They didn't go very well though. And so some of the traditions it's to do with the racing, and some of the traditions it's to do with what happens after you race. So there's a boat race with a trophy as a part of this. So after the race finishes, it normally takes sort of 3 to 4 hours. And then after that, everyone that competed meets at a pub on the way back to their accommodation. And we have the boat race, which is there's a series of rules that the defending champions get to hold, and there's a trophy. And the boat race is just a pint sculling competition. So you get, and to take part, you have to have raced in the road relay. So you get 4 runners from the same club competing against 4 runners from all the other clubs. And it's kind of like a America's Cup style event. So all the challengers just have to keep boat racing against each other. So 4 people sculling 4 pints in a row, like a little bit of a relay, to knock out other teams and just keep going until there's only one team left. And then the winning challenger gets to go against the defending champions and does another boat race. And each person has to scull a pint, and then it's sort of like the usual boat racing rules. So the pint's finished, and you have to have it upside down over your head. And there's an adjudicator watching to make sure you're not just pouring the beer down your shirt rather than drinking it. And if you're spilling, you get disqualified. And people get quite excited, and like the rules change. So sometimes there's the guys and then separately a girls boat race, and other times like the girls and the guys combine, and it's just like a combined boat race. I think at one point there was a rule that you had to have one junior in your boat race team, which gets a little bit dangerous because like some juniors are over 18, but some aren't. So that one kind of got parked up once people worked out. And this happens every year. And since I've been, before I even started doing the relays, there's always been a boat race associated with it. And sometimes there's a beer mile as well, normally at the prize giving. So while you're waiting for the national champs like trophy and the medals to get passed around and presented, someone will organize a beer mile to happen in the area where the prize giving's happening. So then you've got people there waiting for the prize giving. You just got a whole bunch of runners charging around. By this point, normally pretty merry. So the social part of road relays is a pretty big thing.
And the relay itself, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a really good time, and you just kind of pub crawl your way back to your accommodation and get ready for a night out. And it's always at the end of the winter season, so it's like when all the distance runners get to sort of like catch up and have a fun time before kicking on into the track season. And it's pretty well attended, so you'll get clubs from across New Zealand racing, and it's all ages, so like juniors through to masters, and there's a top club competition as well, so you need to run, I think, like a junior teams, senior teams, master teams in the championship grades, and then they get points, and like sort of the best performing club wins that. And yeah, it's sort of the biggest, most prestigious kind of teams competition we have in New Zealand, and all the Kiwis get behind it. It's a really good time. It's probably the only thing that motivates me to run Crossy in the winter. It's just sort of like get my training in so that I can go back and race, so I can make my club team, and then get to run at road relays. Yeah, this year it's in Christchurch, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have another club member at MWAC, Josh Maisie, and he'll be very quick to remind you that I've never actually won road relays or got a medal there, whereas he has. He's got, I think, 3 medals and 1 title. So that's quite a contentious topic of conversation on some of our laps around the tan.
Do you back yourself this year?
It's more than backing myself, mate. It's an 8-man team, so I've got to back 7 other boys. We were looking quite good, but we've been hit by a couple of injury niggles in the last few weeks, which may be costing us our top runner. So that's not helpful. I think we may have a chance at burgling a 3rd place. That would be a very good day for us. We came 5th last year. And you have to carry a baton across the race and pass it from runner to runner. And currently, that's going to be a bit tricky for me.
That's right.
I haven't actually told that many people at my club that I've managed to fracture both my wrists. So they'll get a surprise when I hop off the plane and I get picked up by the team. I'm sitting with my splints on. It'll be good. I think there's some Zach was trying to push for MWAC sending a team over at some point to race this relay event. The teams
I did. Who are you representing, Steve?
I would stay with my New Zealand club.
Oh, unbelievable. I guess we won't.
Sorry?
I guess we won't send a team over them. Out of protest.
There's all sorts of rules. So if like Australian teams can't win the title and stuff, you can only have 1 non-New Zealander in a team, and they have to have been living in New Zealand for like so many months pre-race.
Right.
So you can't just have people like fly in and race unless they're a Kiwi. So yeah, I'd have to stay with my club.
Yeah. Oh well, that's life.
Move.
Yeah, you know where you stand now, Jack.
Always second best.
Well, this is the second best segue. Jack, do you want to lead this one, mate?
Yes. So I've got a little letter that has been written in from an audience member, an avid listener of the podcast. There's only been 2 episodes. We've already got a letter. So I'm just gonna read this out, and we might discuss what's been brought up here. So I've got, hey boys, loving the potty. I noticed the start of last week's episode you played the much loved Bliss and Esso Addicted, which of course will be played at the start of this episode. Despite the fact that Jack Morrison and Jimmy don't feel that it represents their age group. Interesting. I can't help but wish for a new and improved song that is composed by the Uni Boys themselves. I hear KIWIii Steve has a gold-plated instrument he could bring to the mix. I hope to see this request fulfilled. Yours sincerely, Anonymous. Now, Steve, what is this gold-plated instrument that someone's written in? Do you know anything about that?
That's a very good question. I think before we start talking about that, we probably need to consider who this anonymous person may be. Any guidance on who submitted this letter?
No idea, Steve. But it did catch my eye because I have had a few birdies say that you are a percussionist and you specialize in one particular instrument.
Interesting.
Well,
I think if we're looking for someone to compose some music for a theme song for the club, I think we need to use our award-winning musician, Pat Jaffe, who conveniently happens to have a gig this Wednesday, 8 p.m. Everyone should be there. He's a brilliant pianist and bass guitar player and a composer and arranger, so you should probably talk to him.
Really? Well, I'll ask you, Steve. Is it true you have a gold-plated triangle?
I wish it was gold plated, but I do happen to have my own triangle. But I can't use it for our theme song because it's in New Zealand at my parents' house, so we're a bit stuck there.
And do you have a specialty carry case for this triangle?
Yes, I do. You don't want your triangle getting damaged. I mean, I'm presuming you'd have a case for your laptop, right, Jack? Same logic.
Jack doesn't actually.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I do.
I
But
don't have time for. It's great that you have a plethora of time in your day to take things in and out of cases. Personally, as a time poor man myself, like the common men are, I don't have a case for things.
So does this extend into like all areas of your life?
Steve, we're getting in some dangerous territory there.
It's getting personal.
Podcast.
Oh jeez. We might move on to some more serious things now. I reckon some shots are gonna get fired. But anyway, we might get into discussing our weeks of training just to calm down a bit, because I feel like my heart rate's slowly rising in a good way, not a bad way, but I feel like it's at threshold right now, which is not good. We want to be at easy pace. But yeah, let's go through our weeks. I might start with myself because that's our script. So we follow our script. Tuesday, September 12, I did 6x off 60 seconds. So that was a standard MUAC session. Splits were 3, 17, 19, 19, 19, 10 and 13. My coach Isaac told me to go 320s. I felt good. So the last few, I was pretty much racing the reps. A few people, I'm not going to name names, were sitting on me and then kicking on me. So I was like, let's just treat it like the back end of a 400 or something. Because normally, yeah, it was just a bit of fun to let off some steam from a tough day of work. But yeah, anyway, Wednesday I felt crap because of probably pushing too hard in that session, so I just did 20 jog with my best mate Tom at 6-minute Ks, nothing special along St Kilda Beach, and then some cold water recovery gets you going at the beach, probably 10 minutes just straight in, straight out, back in, bit of Goggins mindset, that kind of thing. And then Thursday was my birthday, so very happy 19th. Everyone from MUAC got around me, so do really appreciate all the shout outs that day. But we just did 8-lap wave, your standard 400 on off and then 200 on off. We got mixed up. Pat Jaff actually, Jaffy he said he thought it was 300 floats. So then Sham went one way, I went the other, and then we all just finished separately because we stuffed up a simple session. But anyway, it was like average of like 320, so just slightly slower than 5k pace, and I didn't bring my next percents because I thought I was jogging, but then I saw everyone, I was like, I have to do the session, so another silly decision. But I mean, I recovered well for Saturday. Friday took Friday off as always, and then Saturday town relays, so the under 20s boys were already guaranteed for premiership. Wanted to win some more, silverware. It was a bit of rose gold, so we came third in that under 20s race, which we'll touch on. I ran 324s, so 12:52 for the race. We'll touch more on that later. And then right now we're recording at Sunday. It's currently 6:40. I'm going to probably go for 60 jog afterwards. I'm at 37k right now. Probably end up hitting close to 50k for a week, so bit of a taper week for a race like I always do. But I mean, I could just do a lazy and not go, but considering Marley had a big night as well and he's done 20k, I'm going to at least do my 60. So that's my week. Your turn, Jack.
Yeah, thanks, Jez. Thoughts on that one, Steve? Doing the racing the last couple reps on Tuesday night. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Based on Jerry's expression, I don't think he wants to hear my thoughts on that.
Go anyway.
There's a time and place for doing that. So I guess if that was the time and place, it makes sense. But if that was not, silly boy.
Oh, well, season's over now, so I mean, just got.
What would Isaac say?
Oh, Isaac says if you're feeling good, go hard, Joey. So We'll get him on the podcast, and I'm sure he'll say something else. But I was feeling good that day, so anyway, Jack, your week, mate.
Yeah,
None,
yeah,
none
all
of
right.
it, yeah.
So Tuesday, did 6 by K with Jerry. Did sort of bit of a work down from 3:23 down to 3:14. Pretty happy with the session. I wanted to sort of push a little bit towards the end, because that was my first session since Burnley, which was a bit over a week. So I sort of body had freshened up a bit, so I wanted to push it. And then like a day after 12Ks, then again 12, and then 12 again. I'm kind of getting around the hour jogs, not gonna lie. And a couple of those ones I think were with Steve, not gonna lie. I think that's why they got a little bit on the quicker side. That they got a
I
tad
thought it was
above
called
5 minute
Dr.
pace,
Gentle
so
Jog,
I
mate.
didn't appreciate it. Yeah, there's
Dr.
nothing gentle about his jogs at the moment. Then so Saturday, so yesterday we did the 10 relays. Didn't run as well as last year, but still had a good crack, good hard effort. Ended up running it in 13:24. Then today, nicer easy long run 22Ks with Lee and Maxi. So that was 86 of the week. So back up to full mileage.
Just quickly, mate. The Thursday run.
Nice.
You're a fried brain squad, mate.
Oh yeah, that was with Steve. So
What happened on Thursday's run?
Huh? Yeah, no, that was the run that you messaged during the day, and because you did some client thing the day before, and you had a fried brain. I'd done a bunch of uni work that morning, and I had a fried brain, and then Lee didn't have a fried brain, but he'd been working, and I think he said he had a meeting at the same time that he was running.
Yeah, he blew work off to jog with us. That's how important the jog squad is. Jerry wouldn't understand. He never joins.
He does, just like Elon, never joins.
Oh, jeez, I'm getting bullied here now. But anyway, it was a nice 80 plus K week, Jack, and another 80 plus K week is Steve Langdon. So talk us through your week, mate.
Yeah, so my week's been, in terms of running, pretty average. I sort of alluded to it, but we haven't seen anything on the podcast. But I crashed my bike running to work 1.5 weeks ago, and I fractured both my wrists. So I'm just sort of getting back into the swing of things. So I didn't do a workout this week, but a lot of jogging, which is very important. You need a lot of jogging in your week. So I've just sort of an hour to 80-minute jogs most days this week. Probably the highlights would be the jog squad Thursday, Friday double. Yes, on Saturday I did 30 minutes, big day. I was club volunteer at the 10 relays, and then by the time I got home,
watching the young females.
Whoa,
I was the Premier Women Div 1 official spotter, which is a weird job to be given, but someone had to do it. Got home, had to get jogging quickly so that I could make it to the pre-MWAC bowling socials drinks. And then today was probably my most favorite run of the week. I met Mr. Music, Pat Jaffe, who has dubbed himself the King of the Bend. And we did our long run at Yarra Bend, did 90 minutes on the trails, and just cruised around in the sunshine, and it was a fantastic day out. That's been my week. I ran 90-something K for the week, which is a little bit lower than I've been holding for the last few months, but I'm sort of planning on building things back up as my wrist settle down. Might even do a session on Tuesday.
Ooh, a rare session from Steve.
Yeah.
Got to see you get his heart rate up. You don't remember?
Haven't done a session since Burnley half, and I've got a race in 2 weeks, so I probably need to do something, or else I won't remember how to run quick.
You're not wrong, mate.
Yes, I mean, speaking about Burnley half, did you want to just quickly recap your winter season, if you any PBs and whatnot throughout the season?
Yeah. So I did the XCR season, all the relays, did Albert Park 10K, Gold Coast 10K, and Lonnie 10K, as well as the Burnley Half. At all the relays, I ran slightly slower than I did last year, so that was a little bit frustrating. I conveniently managed to be away every time there was an individual round of the XCR series for the Crossies. I ran Lakeside 10 and absolutely blew up. From 5K on, it wasn't great. And I had Maxi hunting me down over the last 5K, and because of all the switchback, double back points, I could see him coming for me. And he ended up catching me with a K to go, and it turned into a bit of a drag race in the last couple of 100 meters, which is kind of a stressful way to finish a 10K. But I ended up running, not there, but at Gold Coast, I ran a PB of 31.0 something, maybe 02, which was a 1 or 2 second PB over a year ago, so a huge improvement. And then I decided I wanted to try do a half marathon because I'd never ran one before. So I picked Burnley because it's nice and convenient. Do the XCR thing, hopefully score some not too many points for the team. And so just continued on training like normal and ran my first half. I ran 68:30 something. I was pretty happy with that. I was aiming for slightly quicker purely so I'd have a faster half marathon PB than Josh Macy, but that did not work out. The wheels fell off over the last 5Ks and I lost a little bit of time. But it was nice to have been able to say I've done a half marathon. Now I have no plans to ever do one again because they hurt a lot. The last 20, 30 minutes was pretty uncomfortable. And based off how that felt, I will never do a marathon. So on the whole, winter season was pretty positive. I averaged, my weekly mileage was the highest it's been in a very, very long time. I averaged about just over 130 Ks a week for the last sort of 3 or 4 months. I got PB over 10K, PB over half marathon. It was my first one, so my coach says it doesn't actually count. You can't claim a PB until you've ran the race more than once. And he told me this on the phone immediately post Burnley, and I disagreed with him. So then he popped up on my Strava comments. He never engages with me on Strava. He's a lurker. But then I got a comment saying that this was not a PB. So feeling very supported by him. But yeah, on the whole, it was a good winter. We had, it wasn't the best team performance for the club. I was running in the Div 1 team, and we were sort of battling our way through, trying to avoid getting relegated. But we had a lot of injuries and things across the season, and everyone had at least one really good run over the winter, which is cool to see. It's like running is a fun sport when things are going well for you, and you get to see your mates sort of doing some good runs as well.
Sure. I think we know what time it is now. So last week we had the fashion favorites as my little special segment, where we had Max, giving our thoughts on and particularly the Nike Freeze. I'm doing a little bit of a different segment this week. Still Jack's special segment, but we're tailoring it towards Steve. So last week we tailored it towards Max with the fashion because we know how great his fashion is, and now we've got something that's a little bit more closer to home with Steve. So this week, it's called, is it KIWI or is it Bunnings Snag? So the idea is I'm going to run through 5 different things, and I want a little bit of a debate between you two, whether you think it originated in Australia or originated in New Zealand.
Between me and Steve.
Yeah, between you two.
Oh, okay.
I was very
Jerry
to just use this segment, and everything was just going to be Australian, so nothing was New Zealand. But I've been honest. I've gone on to a website called theurbanlist.com, which is a reliable website, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
And I've got a bit of a mixed bag. So not all of them are New Zealand, not all of them are Australian. So we're gonna start it off with the famous pavlova. What are our thoughts? What are we thinking? New Zealand or Australian?
KIWI.
Yeah, probably KIWI.
Jez,
thank you, Jerry.
I need a bit more support from the Australian.
Well, I'm not a fan of it, so I can't really vouch on it.
Oh,
First,
you don't come to the long run. Don't club to the end of season social.
Geez,
now you don't like pavlova.
Oh, I've
We're
only
gonna
had
have
it like once or twice. I haven't had it in like 10 years maybe, so it's probably why
we're
as
gonna have to
well.
consider your membership status of the club right now. Like it's
Oh,
under
jeez,
threat.
it's under threat. Anyway, keep it going, Jack.
Right. Well, the answer. So turns out the name Pavlova is Australian. It was originated in Australia after inspired by the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova, but it was first invented in New Zealand. So that's
Yeah,
one,
right.
one point to Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Then the next one, which I'm hoping Jerry knows the actor. We've got Russell Crowe.
Yeah, he's Aussie. He's Aussie. Oh, I don't care what you say. Like the amount of shows or movies, like The Gladiator is probably the most famous one. But like my parents still talk about that movie, and like when they came to Australia and how much like I don't know, just like Russell Crowe as an actor. Like my aunties all like when they were like kind of probably our age now. Not even that. Like he was the main actor in that 2000s that people remember as an Aussie. So not a Kiwi.
Well, that's a hot take, Jerry. Well, I think we can open this up to Jack as well. But I guess if you're going to claim someone right, it comes down to where they're born.
Interesting.
And Russell Crowe was born in New Zealand. He also spent the bulk of his life until he turned 21 in New Zealand. So,
all right. Well, this is all the information I've got. I've got he was born in New Zealand. That's correct, and moved to Sydney when he was 4 years old. He remains a New Zealand citizen, and in fact, he has applied for Australian citizenship twice and been rejected twice.
Oh,
Which I would say indicates he is definitely Kiwi.
oh, jeez.
Second point to Stephen. All right, number 3, we've got the famous horse Phar Lap.
Yo, is that even a question? It's Aussie, all right? Full stop.
I think you might have picked these questions to like trigger a reaction from me, Jack.
Steve, what we think?
It's the same logic applies. Where was Phar Lap born? New Zealand.
But where did Phar Lap win? Australia.
That logic does not work, Jerry. So if you win a race somewhere, that's your nationality.
It's true. Steve is Australian.
I haven't won a race here, so we're good.
He will, though. He will.
I think, doesn't Australia have Phar Lap's skin or something, and New Zealand has a skeleton?
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
the
think
skin's
Australia
like the
has-
MCG, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I think MCG that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a skeleton is at Te Papa, which is like the National Museum of New Zealand.
Yeah, his monument hides in display in the Melbourne Museum, while his skeleton is at the Museum of New Zealand. There we go. Steve knows his stuff, doesn't he? So
I'm used.
sorry.
Oh, well, I said the
I was just
museum
at-
one, not him.
So it turns
I
out
was just-
Phar Lap was born in New Zealand. So we'll count that as NZ.
See, you're just stitching me up here. You're just giving everything New Zealand. Mate. Like, we're all New Zealand. I'm
Could
telling
be.
you.
We don't know. We don't
Nah,
know.
no, this is...
This is the fun of the game. Number 4, we have the classic, the wheat bix.
Oh, that's Aussie, man. That has to be. If it's not,
Now,
like...
have both of our contestants here consumed wheat bix? Do we have any fond memories of wheat bix growing up?
It just... Some of it was good, some of it was bad. Like, I don't know. At times, I did enjoy it, but at times I hated it because, like, sometimes it got too mushy. And that was too mushy for me, so... But otherwise, like, having it with mates for breakfast, like, when you're sleeping over, it's just, like, one of those memories that a kid growing up in Australia just, yeah, always has. So, throw it back to Steve.
Or is it a kid growing up in New Zealand? That's the question.
Yeah, so I think the logic is it was originally developed in Australia, and like within a matter of years, it was bought by Sanitarium, and I'm not sure. I don't know how that works out because Sanitarium is owned by the Seventh Day Adventist Church. So I guess it comes down to where they're based, like where they're from.
Interesting. All right, so we're a little bit split. So Steve's taking the fence.
Yeah,
And Jerry's going Australian. It is Australian. So it was developed in Australia, developed in Sydney, in the mid 1920s, and then it was adopted to factories established in Auckland and Christchurch. So, ding ding for the point to Australia.
There we go.
Now the last one, I actually didn't even know the other one. Well, to be fair, I didn't know the Weet-Bix was a bit contentious, but the last one I had no idea was even either Australian or New Zealand. It's the flat white. So the coffee, flat white. Where was it? It developed in Australia or New Zealand. It wasn't like Italy or something. What were we thinking?
I reckon it's Australian again because, like, if you're going overseas to, like, America or like UK, they'll say, "Oh, that's the Aussie coffee." So I feel like if our counterparts in like Europe and the rest of the world are saying that, then I feel like it has to be Aussie. I've never heard the flat white be called a KIWI coffee. But if it is, I'm very wrong. So go ahead, Steve.
That's quite contentious. I would say flat white is from New Zealand.
Really interesting. Now I've got here. It was so I've got the two dates because it looks like it might have been independently developed, but we have developed in Sydney 1985, developed New Zealand 1989. So it is actually Australian, originated in Australia, and in fact, Steve does not remember a year of his life without white in it, being the year of the 1989. So there you go. That's my little segment over. Hope the listeners enjoyed the special segment for this week.
Very, very nice segment, mate. I think mixing it up every week, depending on who it is a very smart tactic. That way, we have new segments every week, regardless of who we have. So good stuff on that, Jack. What are your thoughts on that rotating segment idea, Steve?
I like the rotating segment idea, but I'm still thinking about the flat white argument.
It's fact. The urbanlist.com said it was, so it has to be.
I feel like there'll be totally different drinks because coffee in Australia comes with less coffee shots in it for the size. Like the default here is a single, so I feel like the classic flat white would have to be a Kiwi thing because that's a double.
Well, you're wrong, so suck it up.
But I like the tailored approach to each guest. I look forward to seeing what you do with this in the coming weeks.
No, I appreciate it. It was pretty even. Yeah, I know you evened it up, Jack, so no one would be a bit angry. We're both angry.
It was not even. You lost.
I lost. I don't remember that. But anyway, well, we did talk about the tan relays. We might, close up talking about the tan relays because obviously everyone yesterday, including me, partied like hard about the tan relays because we all did reasonably well. So we must start with the ladies. So female opens, Premier Division finished 6th. So Zoe Woods ran 13:45, Pooja Bulla 15:24, Maddie Button 14:28, Hillary McAdam 15:41, Alex Bucky Smith 15:08, and then also a very good finish for Div 2 women's came 5th, coached by Ellie Benson, or led by Ellie Benson, 14:46. You got Erica Hungerford, I'm sorry if I pronounced your names wrong, 14:24. Claire Dolphin, 15:17. Rosie Walsh, 15:43. Some interesting surnames. Mine's probably the most interesting one as well. Anyway, Div 5 came 10th, so just in that top 10. BN 22:22. I'm sorry, I don't want to stuff up your name. Gabriella Corbo Perkins 17:53 and Grace Falcona 17:57. Shout out to Grace. She wanted to hear a shout out this week. Anyway, Mel opens. So Male Opens did really well. Missing Steve, obviously, a key pillar, and some other key pillars, which we'll touch on later, like in next episode. But they came seventh, a valiant effort. Pat Jaffe leading with 12:05 to start off with. Sean Buller, was it that Prem debut for him? 12:28. Yep, Jack's nodding.
First, I think relay debut. So he was Prem last week for the week before for Burnley. This is the first official relay.
Yeah, nice. And then Corey Harrap was his official Prem debut, so 12:42, good on him. Max Ueda, 12:20, coming back from that injury, well done as well. Sho Waller, 12:16, and Jack Morrison, 12:31. So just solid 12-minute running from the D1 boys. And then heading to D2 is a bit of carnage there. It's 12. I'm not sure what happened there, but Jack Mitchell started with 12:50. Tyler Demboa, 13:07. Mr. Jack Miluish, 13:21. Harry Shao, 12:44. Pat Nichols, 13:35. And the man with the big hammies, Wes Hay, 13:07. So I know, like that. Anyway, it was interesting there. Do you want to quickly touch on what went wrong there, boys? Because 12, like, you boys are so much better than that.
Thing is, yeah, I think we just didn't get the teams right. I think we there was quite a few people in Div 3 that probably should have run up, and I guess few from Div 2 that should have run down, including myself. So some poor selection by the selectors, but look, the consequences are we get relegated, so they're the ones that have to live with it.
Yeah, true. And then Div 3, they came 7th, so it just shows, I think the times can't be based on purely your 5K. It needs to be, you need to obsessively look over results and then do Jack's like analysis, numbers, statistics anyway. So Div 3, Jeevan ran 12:22, Cam Lee 13:18, Billy Aston 12:53, Johnny O, the veteran, 13:11. You won't be happy with me saying that, but why not? And Chris Monks 13:04. You could tell the boys running 12 in the 12s should have been up, and it doesn't matter though. Past is past. And then D4 killed it, 3rd. So David's one of the coaches there. I don't want to pronounce his surname wrong as well. David P, 13:14. Josh Doherty, 13:11. Daniel Sear coming back from UK, 14:31. Good to see him back. One of my first coaches as well, and Jack's first coaches. Matt Taylor, the winter manager, absolute legend, 13:15. Jimmy Gallus, the legend, physio, he's 13:42. It was a funny picture of him, which we won't show on the show, maybe later as a stitch up. Nah, don't stitch Jimmy up. Actually, no, he should get stitched up, because when he beat me in that Marla's race, he said, "See ya, Jerry," when he beat me in that two years ago. So I will stitch him up on the show. Anyway, Div 6, 7th, another good effort, Dustin Benecki, 14:03. Jono M, 13:59. Big Zach and Newman, absolute legend, 14:01. Oh, so much for that legend. And Kwan Nguyen, 14:21. Good on him. Invitationals, there's a lot there. We'll quickly breeze through that. Geordie Mitchell, 15:01. Paris Gadsden, 14:28. James Cleverly, 15:25. Nathan Mifsud, 15:08. Liam Koo, 16:09. I pronounced that wrong. Alistair Hastings, 15:43. Ahmed D, 15:21. Michael Dartis, 15:23. Radian, 13:50. Tony, 19:43. And Gabe, absolute legend, 18:15, not 80:15, to round it off. And then we got the male 20s. I might as well talk about it because we won the premiership. I was so emotional after that race because that meant so much to me. As everyone knows how much I give my all at training and even outside to make these relationships. We had to get the team together on multiple occasions. Finn ran by himself yesterday, but 13:54, good on him. He did put in massive efforts to help us during the season, so that premiership, Finn's a part of that as well. But Marley, the Queenslander, he's a Vic boy now, 11:38. He absolutely killed it, and he's so hard on himself, but that's a minute quicker than me, 2 minutes quicker than the other boys. He should be very proud of his efforts, and he pretty much single-handedly carried us for most of all the races, so thank you, Marley. And then Will was second, Will, Bill, you got to tell us what we should call you, mate. Anyway, so he ran 13:54, a bit of Illuminati stuff because Finn and Will ran the same time. Second leg, we were in second, but we kind of fumbled it a little bit and came third. Bronze. To be honest, we're there for double gold. Didn't quite happen, but you didn't even get gold for winning the premiership, which was, you just got a banner and they took it away, which I wasn't happy with. And I ended up running 12:52, which was a minute PB from last year. I was pretty happy with that. Just, it didn't blow up on the hill like I did last year. Paced myself well and then kicked home. And then when I got to the finish line, I might have yelled a few Nick Kyrgios stuff, but we won't mention that on the show. Keep it PG-13. But I was over the moon. Just grabbed the badge like that. Well, I don't have the jersey with me. It's in the wash, but just it meant so much. We might have a photo of that, but we got to pull it up later. But yeah, and I partied hard for it because we busted our ass off. Bendigo rest their team the week before Nats and after Nats. We raced before Nats and the week after. We were bruised on yesterday's start line, as you boys know, and we still fought, guts and teeth and everything. So yeah, we're happy to come third, and honestly, we should have came second that day. I'm not going to give clout to some people, some haters from Sandy, so they don't deserve a mention. Did me dirty crazy ways. And yeah, I think we might finish with on a high, because finishing on a high is so much better finishing on a low. I've been a bit angry this week. I know it's been my birthday, but it's been a horrible week for me, so I deserve to vent on this podcast about, winning the premiership. So I think I might hand it over to Jack or Steve before I get my heart rate to 200 and explode. So yeah, finish it off, boys.
Thanks, Jez. That was great. I at some point I'm not sure if you're gonna breathe still going through all those results. No, it's been a pleasure. Been another longer podcast, but a fantastic one with Steve. It's always a pleasure when our paths cross. Thanks very much for coming on.
You're most welcome. Thanks for having me. Love the passion, Jerry. I think Steve. One question for Jack to consider is length of runs. Is it time or distance?
Big time distance. Lock it in, thank you.
Oh, time, mate. Always time. Not distance, mate.
You used to be a distance man. You got changed. You've changed.
Oh, my coach Isaac has changed me to a time man. So yeah,
your
distance does not matter, mate. Oh, this could go on for days, mate. We might have to stop boring the listeners. I'm sure they're entertained, but next week we've got another special guest on. As we said, weekly guests on. This is all part of a Parkville Project. We're all a big family who, probably got the best culture. I'm going to say it right now. We've got the best culture. Probably one of the best. I'm not going to say we've got the best because it can change, but at the moment, best in Australia. So let's get into episode 4 with another special guest. We're not going to mention who because at the moment we don't know who it's going to be, but we know it's going to be fireworks as always. And I hope to join you guys next Tuesday for the next episode 4 already. We are making moves.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks.
All right, and stop the recording, mate.